Hello folks, if you're new around here, then allow me to quickly introduce myself as the Khazan newsman. Like many other self-proclaimed Souls-like fans, I too quite like the idea of being bent over and blasted into the reality of my very average skills and impending old age. Whilst in denial, I had one of the best ideas of my life, which was to cover pretty much every aspect of Khazan that I could think of, and in the 100 or so days since Khazan's launch, I've posted close to 50 videos for Khazan altogether, having since deleted a handful of the more outdated guides, but overall, Khazan has undoubtedly helped grow and shape this channel into a platform that leans slightly more into the action RPG and Souls-like genres. Now, I think the Khazan videos will slow down quite a bit. To bring you all up to speed, up until this point, we've never gone longer than a week or so without receiving some form of update from the devs over on the official Khazan Discord. Whether it be an update, a hotfix, or the announcement of either, we've always had some form of weekly interaction over the past 4 or so months. That is until just recently, where our last update was on the 26th of June, followed by a hotfix on the 27th of June, and then basically nothing since, other than this, which we'll cover in just a moment. So it's been 3 weeks without word from the devs. We're just around the corner of making that an entire month, and for all intents and purposes, this is out of character for how Neeple have behaved up until this point. To add to all of this, their most recent announcement made on the 10th of July was to essentially say that the channel for interacting with the devs is being put on a temporary hold and won't be used for the time being. Now, I'd imagine a lot of you are unaware as to what this actually was, but it essentially allowed us as gamers to speak with the developers personally, whether it be to suggest things, point out things we really liked, or find out more about the developers themselves. So naturally, it's quite a sad thing to see it temporarily close, and let's be honest, it's possible it may never be opened again. Now, the reality is, this was an absolute bonus for us gamers, at least as far as typical post-development of games go, so to see it gone isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it does create some worrying thoughts regarding it potentially never coming back. Now, where am I going with all of this? It's no secret that the Souls-like genre is hard to break into. Nexon published Khazan and have since announced it didn't meet their personal sales targets. To compare Khazan with other debut titles within the genre, it does pale in comparison to some of the sales and concurrent player numbers, and ultimately, as great as Khazan is, its future right now does sit smack bang in the centre of uncertainty. Now, as a very quick side note, folks, as you can probably tell, we are a humble and somewhat small channel here, which is why I'm very grateful to say that this video is sponsored by Xmod. Xmod is an all-in-one modding tool that includes thousands of free mods, cheats, and trainers for over 5,000 different single-player PC games. Using this, I was able to quite literally just open Khazan within Xmod, boot up for the first time, and immediately bypass all content I've previously completed on console 4 or 5 times already at this point, essentially increasing max damage and health, whilst also unlocking absolutely anything I like, and I also discovered this nice little option to simply freeze all of the enemies. There is also a selection of community mods, and typically this list is a lot longer for most games, as well as an array of additional features, such as the Fast Steam Unpack. As I transition more into PC gaming, I have found and will find myself using Xmod more and more, especially as and when new games do release. There's thousands of trainers to choose from for practically any game you could ever want to play, and it is absolutely free. So if you would like to get into modding and want all of the hard work done for you, or if you're just curious and don't mind supporting the channel along the way, then I'll leave a sponsored link in the description below, and a huge thank you to Xmod again for making this video possible. Prior to launch, Khazan was previously known as Project Barbecue, and for a certain period of time, found itself looking like an entirely different game, and in what we can call development hell. Eventually, things were put on track, and what we got as the final product has gone down as one of the best Souls-likes we've ever seen, at least as far as combat is concerned. Since its launch, we've seen tons of updates which have really refined an already polished experience, but with none of these updates being able to create or maintain any additional traction for Khazan, we do have to ask ourselves if the developers have stopped due to their efforts not increasing the player base, or if this is all just part of their long-term plan. The most recent female Khazan update could be very telling of just how uncertain Neeple may be behind the scenes. Female Khazan may have been in the works for some time, or she may have just been a last-minute decision to try and capitalize on the Stellar Blade and AI limit hype. Right now, either are just as possible, but they both indicate entirely different things for Khazan's future. If this is all just part of the plan, then we can assume that Neeple are busy in-house working on future updates and following any semblance of a plan that they have set out for themselves. The alternative is, of course, that they are scrambling to keep Khazan relevant, which obviously isn't great, as this could lead to Khazan being abandoned and receiving no future updates or additional content. Right now, we really don't know which is more true. Nepal aren't really behaving outside of the normal as far as all of the development companies are concerned. They've just built a reputation over the past 4 months or so of being very transparent and interactive, and then pulling away from this approach can be seen as either them needing to knuckle down in terms of development, or that they're slowly moving on from Khazan altogether. I do wish I had the answer, but instead, all I've got is what is slowly becoming my catchphrase, which would be, we'll just have to wait and see. So, what does that mean for us? Now, we originally went from 0 to 300 subscribers with Space Marine 2, then from 300 to 3,000 with Stalker 2, and now we're just bordering 7,000 subscribers, having since covered Avowed, Khazan, Expedition 33, Blades of Fire, and Wu Chang in just a few days' time. September 25th will mark the official 1 year anniversary of the channel, and it's currently looking like we'll be very close to 10,000 subscribers by that point, which, let me just say, is absolutely insane. Now, it begs the question of where we go from here. Obviously, the current plan is to ride the Wu Chang shaped wave that is currently on the horizon, but once she is all paggered out and tired, we will be looking to move on to the next title, and to be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure on what that will be. During our Wu Chang endeavours, we will still be keeping on top of all things Khazan, but those videos will be completely dependent on Khazan's lifespan. I intend to cover Wu Chang to the same extent, but I've no idea how consistent the news for Wu Chang will ever be. So it all highly suggests we'll be looking to cover another game in roughly 5 or 6 weeks' time. I'm currently undecided as to what. Due to Avowed and Blades of Fire, I'm hesitant to touch certain games moving forward, at least until I've put in enough research and can be sure that it will have some degree of hype and it's right for the channel. Now, of course, Wu Chang will be dropping on the 24th of July. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to acquire a key at any point prior to launch, so I'll only be able to start on guides as of then. This is a shame, but hopefully with time, it'll stop being a thing. But regardless, I am strapping in for the rat race that will take place as of the 24th of July. So wish me luck, folks. Anyway, that would be it for today's video. I should be back within the coming days with 1 or 2 more videos just prior to launch, and I do of course have a range of guides and news videos on the channel already, so do feel free to stop on by and check things out. Otherwise, thanks for watching, folks, and until next time, peace.